Alrighty, let's see if we can't find the stream. Hopefully it isn't too far away. Hopefully everything is working as it should be. Cause F1, there's the stream there. There's the bot working as it should. Oh good, a Twitch ad. Don't we love Twitch ads? Yep, audio is working as it should. So the stream's up, the chat's up, we're all good to go. That is absolutely fantastic. Well, hello everyone and welcome to round 6 of the AM1 Championship here on Contest of Speed. I'm Lane Everingham, your commentator for this event, and this time we're racing at Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez for the Mexican Grand Prix. Located in the nation's capital of Mexico City, at a whopping 7,300 feet above sea level, Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez was constructed in 1959 and has been hosting Formula One Grand Prix since 1962. 30 years later, in 1992, the circuit would disappear from the calendar and wouldn't reappear again until 2015 with a redesigned layout. Measuring up at 2.6 miles, it consists of 17 corners and 3 DRS zones that lead into the prime overtaking spots of Turn 1, Turn 4 and Turn 12. The most notorious and noteworthy part of the circuit is the infamous S section formed by Turn 7 through 11. The drivers will have to deal with a car that is travelling right on the edge of grip all the way through the section. To add on top of that, they'll have to deal with some brutal and unforgiving track limit warnings which generally are a burden around this racetrack during both qualifying and in the race. Outside of these areas, there is the tight, twisty arena section, which tends to create more drama than racing, to be perfectly honest, especially during safety car restarts. That final sector can become quite a massive handful. The circuit is certainly unique and one hell of a challenge. Hopefully we get to see a good show out on track, especially considering the fact that it's A, going to be a dry race and dry qualifying, and B, we've got an 18 car field for this event. Incredibly healthy size for this race in Mexico. But before we focus on what's happening out there, there is a bit of news to go through first from last week's race in Portugal. Once again, there were no incident reports from last week's race in Portimao, so the final finishing results remain unchanged. Barmer 22 is leading the way in the Drivers' Championship on 121 points, followed by Vermu on 83. Then 40 points back is P3, which is Darth Vader on 43 points. Next is Electric Blade on 37, followed by Switchback on 27, Saint on 20, Burzy on 17, Scavney on 12, Cam on 8, F1 Racer will round out the top 10 on 6 points. In the Constructors, Red Bull are leading the way on 149, followed by Ferrari on 100. And it's a huge step back to P3, which is McLaren on 49 points, 51 behind Ferrari and 100 points behind Red Bull. Next is Williams on 45. They're currently equal fifth with Alpine, also on 45 points. Then Haas on 43, Aston Martin on 33, Mercedes on 12, Alfa Romeo on 11 and AlphaTauri on 7. That's pretty much it in terms of news. We can now focus on this qualifying session, and I must reiterate, it's really good to see an 18 car field for this event. It's quite nice to see. Just in recent times numbers have dwindled somewhat, but it's certainly picked back up again, so that's absolutely fantastic. But out of track right now, everyone's beginning their flying laps. Mr. Vader here has just begun one. In front of him is Scavney in the McLaren, so these two haven't timed it particularly well. Vader's going to get a little bit of interference from Scavney's McLaren in front as he's making his way through the notorious S section, chucking it all the way through turn 10 and turn 11. He'll open DRS and head down towards turn 12. Oh, on the brake, bringing it down to 4th gear, back on the accelerator. Bit of a wiggle on the exit, keeps it tidy, but yeah, Scavney's McLaren providing a great distraction. Vader won't be too happy about it, but He's got plenty of time left in qualifying, and that he's on a set of medium compound tyres. Okay, so Scavney does an 18 flat on a set of mediums. Darth Vader does a 16.39 full. Scavney's teammate Garvey making his way towards the third sector into the infamous arena section. You can see how tight and twisty this section is. You really do have to be careful on the accelerator, especially for anyone who isn't running traction control. And around these final two tricky corners, and it's important that you get turn 16 and 17 spot on so you can maximize the top end speed heading down the main straight. Johnny Damon on what appears to be a preparation lap. He doesn't look like to be pushing. Mr. No Name here is a reserve. We've got a few reserve drivers in tonight. And you might notice as well on the totem pole on the left hand side, got PlayStation logos and some PC logos. This is going to be our first cross-play event of the season. It seems that this is the direction we want to carry AM1 to try and increase the amount of drivers participating in the series. So some of the drivers will have to put up with some screen freezing. That's one of the drawbacks with crossplay, and I have plenty of experience with crossplay on this game. At times it's good because it obviously increases the pool of drivers you have within a series, but the amount of technical issues that you're bound to face in this, there's a few. There's quite a lot of technical issues that the drivers will have to deal with, that the league coordinators will have to deal with as well. So hopefully everything runs smoothly. Oh, clunky, gee whiz, losing control through the S's. He's a new full-time driver. He's taking a full-time seat in Williams. Unfortunately, he hasn't ended qualifying in a barrier. That wouldn't be the way to start. Kept it on the tarmac and he gets pointed back in the right direction. Vermeer looks like, oh, he's going to take out a Bollard. That poor Bollard. Been absolutely murked right there. Oh dear. Yeah, righto. So a few of the AM tiers have done it. Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Crossplay, I feel, is the future of league racing on the F1 platform. But I have to say, it's not smooth. It's not even remotely close to smooth just yet. There's a lot of polishing that needs to happen in order to make it function appropriately, I think is the best way of putting it. As Switchback's about to begin a flying lap, we're going to ride on board with the Aston Martin driver. Give you a tour of this 2.67 mile 17 turn racetrack down towards turn 1. An incredibly long run to turn 1. I think it's the longest on the calendar. Down through the gears, down to 4th gear and heading through turn 2 into turn 3. Short shifting up to 5th gear. You'll open DRS and head down towards turn 4. Probably the second best overtaking spot on the circuit after turn 1. Bring it all the way down to 3rd gear. Get back on the accelerator lightly. Bring it down to 2nd gear through turn 5. Short shifting up to 4 as he heads around this short hairpin of turn 6. I really do like that corner. It's a nice little corner. It's probably the best turn on the racetrack in my opinion. Through turn 7, into turn 8, around the left-hander of 9, and into the tricky S of turns 10 and 11. You really do have to be right on the limit the whole way through. If you go over the limit that little too much, you'll either get a warning or you get spat into the barrier. Out of turn 12 and around the hairpin of turn 13, into 14 and 15, you'll leave the arena section and head around turn 16 up towards turn 17, which completes the lap. He'll cross the line to set a 16.7. He'll go P2 on the board. 4 tenths, behind Darth Vader. Vermeer getting himself ready for another flying lap attempt. Making his way through the final sector as I speak. Harrisplex doing the same. Making his way through the arena around turns 14, 15 and around 16 and the final corner of 17. He's yet to set a lap time. Still have 4 drivers yet to set a lap time. Hopefully they all can. As Harris heads down towards turn 1. Entry speed we're going to see here 205, 206, 27, 208, 280 miles an hour into turn 1, bringing it all the way down. I saw a lower speed of 69 miles an hour there at turn 1. Not the tidiest run out at turn 3 as he heads up towards the first sector split. Meanwhile, Vermeulen, the man who was second in the Drivers' Championship, is making his way up towards the first sector split as well. Braking hard, bringing it down to third gear, clips the apex at 4, heads around turn 5, gets a tidy run out of the right-hander, now into the hairpin of turn 6. Gently reapplying the accelerator, eventually reaching full throttle as he heads into the S's now. Turn 7 into 8, around the left of 9 and up towards 10 and 11. Nice and steady, gets a tidy run out and heads towards the final sector split. Get hard on the brakes, brings it down to 4th gear, back on the accelerator and now into the hairpin of turn 13. 3rd gear through 14, 15 and around the final 2 corners of 16 and 17. This will complete the flying lap for Vermeulen. He'll set a 15.986. He's taken pole position by just over 0.4 of a second. Barmer still waiting in the pit lane. Matty Robbo as well. Bersey on a flying lap. He's up by 1.5 seconds to the middle sector split as he makes his way through the arena section. Around turn 14, 15, up towards 16, 17, 3rd gear, modulating the throttle nicely as he heads around the final corner to cross the line. P3 for Bersey with a 16.448. He is currently 54 thousandths of a second behind Darth Vader, who is getting ready. He's making his way through the middle sector. Cam Tezzel will cross the line. He will not improve. He misses out on improving by 33 thousandths of a second. Clunky Boy currently P6. Garvey goes back in. Chase, a reserve driver, making his way down the main straight towards turn 1. It appears that he is pushing. He has consumed a fair bit of battery already. Down towards turn 1, 206 miles an hour the entry speed. Gets a tidy run through turn 2, round turn 3, up towards turn 4. As Scavney improves to a 17.101, he's just beaten Chase by 66 thousandths of a second. Darth Vader making his way out of turn 3, up towards the first sector split. What does the clock say for the Haas driver? It says he's down, but not by much, by only 4 thousandths of a second. And you're not honestly expected to gain much time through the first sector. It is only 3 corners after all. Out of turn 8 and down towards the notorious S's into turn 7, the left-hander, round turn 8 into turn 9. Not the tidiest run through 8, but he gets through it. Through turn 10 and 11, he loses it. Oh, gee whiz. Oh, perfect pirouette, pointing exactly where he needs to go. Solid 9 out of 10 spin right there. Would have earned extra points if the whole spin was on the racetrack, but still, very good looking spin. Hello, Max. Nice comment there. I think we are going to have plenty of fun tonight. 18 car field, as I mentioned earlier, it's a really nice sight to see. We were really lacking numbers earlier, a few weeks ago. Seeing 18 cars in the field is just a refreshing sight to see. Alright, how about this sight to see? Our current championship leader, Barmer 22. He's got a massive 40-point lead in the championship. He's been untouchable all season. Where's he going to plonk himself on the leaderboard? He's currently last. He has not set a lap time just yet. To the first sector, 28.6 essentially to the first sector as he makes his way around turn 5 up towards the hairpin of turn 6, down to 5th gear, short shifting up to 4th and heading down towards the S's now. 6th gear down to 5th, back on the accelerator through turn 8 into 9, up towards turns 10 and 11, chucking it through the S's, getting it absolutely spot on the whole way through. Up towards the final sector now, hard on the brakes, down to 4th gear for turn 12. Back on the accelerator and around the hairpin of turn 13. through the little kinks of 14 and 15 and around the final two corners of 16 and 17. Up towards the line now for Barmer 22. It's not pole, it's a 16 flat. That's P2. Vermou's pipped him, not by much. There's less than a tenth separating the top two. Matty Robbo will complete a flying lap, and he'll vault up to P5 with a 16.632. Not a bad effort whatsoever, especially when you consider the fact that he hadn't set a lap time before that moment. The pressure was on, and both drivers delivered pretty well. Johnny Damon making his way through the arena section and around the final two corners on the racetrack. Make his way up towards the line. It's going to be a 1:17.268. P14 for Damon. Sam getting ready. He's a reserve driver in for tonight. Thursday on an out lap, switch back on an out lap. Cam, you're about to begin a flying lap. What about you, Clunky? You've just ended one. That's a very fair point, Deathstorm. With the incredibly long run to turn one from the grid boxes, you wouldn't want to start on the front row because you're just giving a slipstream to those behind. But if you get a good launch from the front row and you're able to maintain the lead, yeah, it's not too bad, but absolutely. You're just giving a slipstream to the cars behind when you make your way off the line. Now Cam making his way up towards the first sector split. Cam's currently P10 with a 16.9, and he's currently up by 56 thousandths to the first sector. Now, in order for him to improve position, he only has to improve by 4 thousandths of a second. It will take Nortek's P9. Nortek, meanwhile, is out on track on an outlap, getting himself ready as Cam makes his way into the S's, turns 7, 8, up towards 9, and into turns 10 and 11. 6th gear, modulating the throttle the whole way through and up towards the middle sector split. He's up by 3 tenths as I'm not sure if that's Grim or Switchback getting out of the way. There's also an Alfa Romeo getting out of the way. That would have to be Nortek. Cam makes his way out of the arena section now and around the final two corners. Up towards the line for Cam Tizzle. It's a 16.458. He improves by just under half a second and jumps up to P5 on the leaderboard. Vermou making his way around turn 6. Down towards the S's now. Our current pole sitter with a 15.986. He's the only driver in the 15s, and he's not going to improve. A mistake through turn 8. He spins out and ruins what could be his final flying lap attempt. And I think that's Barmer going through. No. It was Harris making his way through. Barmer is arriving, though, on the scene. Dearie me. Vermou, he did back that car into the tyre barrier. He might have rear wing damage, though. Looking at it from that angle, it looks okay. Well, he has time left on the clock to do one more run. He's not got the most optimal amount of battery, though, to play with. So, yeah, Vermou's going to be pretty much up against it right now. Barmer makes his way around the final corner and down the main straightaway to begin what will be his final flying lap attempt. Meanwhile, Darth Vader's making his way into the middle sector. He's up by 200ths to the first sector. Up towards turn 6, down to third gear, keeping it third, then short shifting on the exit. Down towards the S's now. Into the left-hander at 7, around turn 8, then 9, up towards 10 and 11. Blaze jumped up to P5, he's overtaken his teammate. Vader to the middle sector. Does he improve? Yes, he does. He's found 2/10 of a second. Needs to find more time, though, to try and challenge to the top two. Barmer, meanwhile, is up by 87 thousandths to the first sector. Vermou, not sure. We'll have to wait and see. Vader, 2 corners to go on this flying lap. He'll make his way round the final corner, crosses the line, and jumps up to pole position with a 1 minute 15.931. Well, he found that time, and Vermou's put it into the wall, and Barmer's backed out of the lap. Vermou and Barmer will not challenge for pole position. This could be Vader's. Robbo's the wrong way round, out of turn 3. Scavney's on a flying lap. He's up by 1/10 to the first sector. In order for him to challenge pole, though, he'll have to find about 1.2 seconds, which, oh, who knows, it might not be impossible. Scavney makes his way out of turn 11, up towards the middle sector split. He's found 0.2 of a second. He might be able to creep into the top 10 here if he strings this final sector together, as he makes his way around turn 13 into 14 and 15, and now the final two corners, 16 and 17, to complete this lap. Scavney's not a bad final sector, and he does jump up into the top 10 with a 16.724. I think Rassam is the only driver left out on track, so we'll wait for him to retire, as well as Mr. Robbo here to retire from the session, and then we can call it. It's Darth Vader who will start from pole position for this Mexican Grand Prix with a 1 minute 15.930. It beats Vermu, who's set a 1 minute 15.986, 56 thousandths of a second separating the top two at the end of qualifying. Row 2 is made up of Barmer 22 and Berzi, so a solid qualifying overall for Ferrari. Similar story with Alpine, with their two cars separated by a mere 1/100th of a second between Blade and Cam Tissell. Outside of the top 6 places, we have Chase in P7, followed by Matty Robbo in 8th, Scavney 9th, and Switchback rounds out the 10. Nortec P11, followed by Clunky Boy in 12th, Garvey 13th, then Johnny Damon 14th, Harris in 15th, Grim 16th, Rassam in 17th. Mr. No Name will start from the very back in 18th position, 2.1 seconds separating the field, and just over 1 second separating the top 11 cars. So pretty tight qualifying here at Mexico, which is really, really nice to see. Now, just to reiterate, it's going to be a dry race here in Mexico, and traditionally with the Mexican Grand Prix, in games past that is, it's a two-stopper, because the soft tyre is actually incredibly fast here in Mexico. The trouble is with F122, the soft tyre just doesn't last anymore. It is purely a qualifying tyre, so the strategies are limited to either hard to mediums or medium to hards, either or. Here at Mexico, I mean, either could work. I mean, those towards the front might be more inclined to start on the medium compound tyre, try and pull away from your rivals on the hard tyre, build up a gap, and then compensate later on in the race. Obviously, starting on the hard tyre means that you get an entire formation lap to get your tyres nice and warm. Whereas if you started on the mediums and then pitted onto the hard tyre, you have to do all that hard work getting your tyres up to temperature during the race. So, battery low on my controller. I better hook it up so it don't die on me. Oh. But yeah, I reckon we're just going to see a lot of one-stops. There's the two-stop strategy, according to the graphic, but I haven't seen a two-stop strat work here in Mexico when you have green flag running from start to finish. Which is really unfortunate, because the two-stop was a genuine option in previous games, but now, in order to make a two-stopper work, you pretty much need some luck with safety cars. So, who's starting on what tyre? Well, it's a mix and match, and we do have a couple of soft runners. Darth Vader, our pole sitter, is starting on the medium. On the hard compound tyre. It's Vermu who's starting on the medium compound tyre in P2. Barmer 22 is starting on a hard tyre. Berzi on the hards as well in P4. Blade P5 is starting on the mediums. Cam Tissell, his teammate, is starting on the hards. So the two Alpines and the two Ferraris have got split strategies for this Grand Prix. Chase in P7 is starting on the mediums. Matty Robbo is starting on the hards in P8. Scavney P9 starting on the mediums, and Switchback rounds out the top 10 on the hard tyre. Nortec P11 starting on the medium tyre. Then the next two cars, which are Clunky Boy and Garvey, they're both starting on the hard tyre. Johnny Damon is starting on the mediums in 14th. Harris is starting on the hard tyre in 15th. Grimm is the first driver to start on the soft compound tyre in 16th position. Rassam is starting on the hard tyre in 17th. And No Name, starting from the back of the grid, is on the soft compound tyre. So those two drivers on the softs, they're going to be nice and aggressive at the start. They want to make up positions early, try and dice it up in the midfield. For everybody else, we've got 6 cars on the mediums. That would mean 8, I believe, on the hard compound tyre. Well, Vermeer doing a cheeky little spin on the grid, trying to get his tyres nice and warm. Now, Vader's starting on the outside, heading down towards turn 1. He does have a couple of drivers spinning in the background. That was Harris and a Mercedes, I believe, spinning in the background. But yeah, Vader has the cleaner side of the racetrack. He should theoretically get a better start. But Vermeer is on the medium compound tyre, which provides better grip. So this is going to be an interesting launch and an interesting run heading down to turn 1. Alright, all 18 cars are lined up, ready to run. We got 36 laps in front of us and 5 red lights. We are underway here in Mexico. It's a slow start for those behind, but a great start for the top 2. A drag race down to turn 1. It's Vermeer versus Vader. Here we go. Vermeer's in front just by 1/10 of a second, heading down towards turn 1. Vader looking to the inside. He sends it in, but Vermeer, with all the grip in the world, drives around the long way and maintains the lead. Barmer in P2, Blade in 4th. Yellows are out. It's Switchback, who has dropped all the way down to last. Clunky Boy's lost positions too. So is Cam Tizzle, spinning at the exit at turn 3, dropping down to now last position. Vermeer's still leading the way. He's got half a second over Vader. Nortek and Grimm are battling for position through turn 5. Grimm's had a terrific start on the soft compound tyre. He's attacking Scavney round turn 6. Scavney trying to keep the fight alive. Looking down the inside here at turn 7. He'll get in front and keep P8, keeping Grimm in 9th. No Name and Damon were battling for position as well. No Name's up to 15th. But what a terrific start from the top 2. Vermeer and Vader definitely had the best start of the front runners. But in terms of positions gained, it's Grimm up into the top 10. Done exactly what he needed to do on that soft compound tyre. He's made it work brilliantly. Onto the main straight now. Vermeer extending his margin to Vader. Barmer closing in on Vader. Clunky Boy getting by Rassam. Rassam losing a position to his teammate No Name. Here comes Barmer towards turn 1. He looks to the inside but doesn't fully commit to the move. Oh, Vader runs wide though. Through turn 2 into turn 3 as Rassam has left the session. No Name gets by Clunky Boy, and I think Barmer's going to get by Vader. And he does. Not much that Vader can do about that. He slots in behind the championship leader and moves down into 3rd. Blades had a pretty decent start. He's kept out of trouble. He's already got a margin over Bursey. That's not good for P5 and below. The top 4 are starting to drive away. Yellows are out. It's Johnny Damon, who has spun at turn 4. Gets pointed back in the right direction, but he's lost a tremendous amount of time. Here's your race leader, Vermeer. 1.4 seconds over Barmer, utilising the pace of the medium compound tyre. Midfield pack, then arriving towards the final sector. And looking at the intervals, no one's quite ready yet to battle for position. We're going to have some DRS trains forming in a little while's time, as Harris gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings, and I can guarantee you folks, that's not going to be the last time we'll see someone get a time penalty for track limit warnings. They are extremely notorious here at this circuit. Through the opening chicane section of turns 1, 2 and 3. Oh, a big old tank slapper from Barmer 22 there. The back end stepping out wildly at the exit of turn 3. But he caught it well, and he's only lost a little bit of time to the leader. Out of turn 5, heading around turn 6 now. Vader, I wonder what his game plan would be. Probably just follow Barmer around as best as he can. He knows that Barmer's naturally got a lot of pace. Barmer did, though, toss around the comment that he really does dislike this circuit. But then again, I don't know of many people who do like this place. It is a very frustrating circuit at the best of times. So, yeah, opinions aren't very sort of rated highly here in Mexico. But Barmer, as we all know, has still got plenty of pace. And I think Vader would just be happy to just sit behind Barmer, utilize his natural pace, maybe save some battery, maybe save the tyres a little bit. Just maintain third for a little while. Looking back though, these guys are probably getting ready to get a move on. Now, in terms of tyres, Matty Robbo and Bersey on the hard compound tyre. We've got Nortec and Scavney on sets of mediums, and they're going to have slightly better pace during this opening phase of the race. After a little while, the pace will even out, but as of right now, the mediums should have the advantage, and Nortec is closing in. Garvey getting by Harris. Harris under attack from Clunky as we make our way through turn 3. Down the straightaway towards turn 4. DRS open on the Williams. He'll get by Harris. No Name will close in on this battle as well. Oh, almost closes into the back of Harris's gearbox there at turn 4. Got very close to the gearbox. He had to take avoiding action, No Name, to avoid contact. Oh, and I think Harris had a moment at the exit of turn 6. I thought I did see that out of the corner of my eye, but I thought maybe my eyes were playing tricks on me. But no, he did make a mistake, and now No Name gets by as Rassam has left the session. Switchback gets a penalty. Harris closing in, not by enough though to attack, and there's Switchback behind in P15, recovering after what happened on the first lap. Around the hairpin and around the kinks of 14 and 15, around 16 and 17. No Name won't have any DRS assistance. He might be a tad bit vulnerable to Harris. And speaking of vulnerable, Garvey is certainly vulnerable to Clunky. Heading down towards turn 1. The gap shrinking to 0.2 of a second. Down towards the opening right-hander. He sends it down the inside. Gets in front. Moves into P11. Tidy move there. Scavney closing in on Nortec, looking down the inside here at turn 4, sends it in. They're side by side, heading towards turn 5. Nortec fights back. Contact between the two cars, and Scavney wins the battle. He moves into P7. But now Grimm and Chase are right on the back of this battle. So we got a 4-car fight for 7th position. Through the S's now, around turn 8 into 9, around turns 10, and the left-hander at 11. Oh, you can see the understeer Nortec had through that section. Understeered wide at the final part of the S's. Hopefully that didn't give him a warning. He obviously didn't gain any time out of it, but knowing the game, it probably did give him a warning for abusing track limits. Oh, Chase gets by Grimm as well, so Chase moves up into P9, Grimm down to P10. I'm guessing Grimm must have made a mistake through the final sector. Opened up an opportunity for Chase to move by, but there's a problem. Chase doesn't have DRS, Grimm does, and Grimm's got battery to play with too. Down towards turn 1, around the outside, Grimm will look. Oh, Chase dives it in deep at turn 1. Grimm gives room around turn 2. Oh, and that's a nice bit of driving there from Chase. Had plenty of confidence around the outside. He was able to drive around the Aston Martin, but Grimm's going to counter here at turn 4. Looking around the outside here into the left-hander, but he goes deep. Chase is going to keep the fight alive around turn 5. They don't make contact with each other as they head around turn 6. Chase has got the nose in front. He's got better traction out of the corner, so Chase will keep P9. But with all this battling, as respectful as it might be, it now means they're 2.5 seconds behind both Nortec and Scavney, and they were battling them for P7, so yeah, it's cost them time. Oh, but oh dear, Nortec has spun. He was battling Scavney for 7th. He's thrown it away out of turn 11. He gets pointed back in the right direction. No obvious damage on the Alpha. Now there is. Oh dear. He spun it into the barrier because he's got hot tyres that have absolutely no grip. You'll have to go into the pits and get that thing fixed. Meanwhile, the leaders are on lap 7. Vermoo is leading the way. He's got 1.8 seconds over Barmer, who's using all of the curb at turn 3. He's got 2.1 seconds over Darth Vader in 3rd. Electric Blade has maintained 4th, but I think the gap has closed up between Blade and Bursey. It's now 1.6 seconds, so I think Bursey's got some pace in that car right now. And Matty Robbo isn't too far behind, neither is Scavney. As Nortec makes his way into his pit stall, he'll chuck on the hard tyre. Try and go long on those. He'll be hoping for a safety car to come out, try and help him at some stage during this event. And right now, during this phase of the race, this is a sort of boring phase where the field starts to spread out a little bit, and we won't see any action until the pit stop window. So, oh, hello. Or unless somebody makes a mistake, like Harris here, who has spun at the exit of turn 9. Gets pointed back in the right direction. No damage again from that spin. Just needs to make sure he keeps that car nice and straight so he doesn't put it into a barrier. Nortec back out on track. New front wing on the car and hard compound tyres bolted on. Gap is extending between the top two. It's now 2.3 seconds. Obama won't be too concerned right now. He'll know as soon as he moves on to the medium compound tyre in the second half of the race, it's going to be significantly quicker compared to Vermoo on the hard compound tyre. Vader 3rd, Blade 4th. Bursey's still about 1.3 behind. So this battle is certainly not over. Grimm under a bit of pressure from Clunky. Those soft tyres by this point would have seen better days. They don't have the pace of what they had a few laps ago. And Chase has left the session. He is DC'd from the session. He'll have to rejoin as soon as possible, but his AI is going to be vulnerable to both Grimm and Clunky. Look at this, the pace difference. It's like night and day between the AI and those actually behind the wheel. Vermoo sets a new fastest lap, so he's still got pace on those medium compound tyres. Clunky boy, he is all over the Aston Martin right now, as Harris gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. And in comes Grimm. He can't go any longer on those soft compound tyres. He'll pit in. Pit onto what exactly? As Bursey and Blade battle for position. This is for P4. Bursey gets in front, and there won't be much Blade can do about it either, as Chase has rejoined the session. Down the next straightaway, Bursey will get some DRS so he can pull away from Blade. Matty Robbo will be closing in. As Clunky, oh no. It seems like as soon as one person drops out and rejoins, another person drops out. This is one of the not so nice things about crossplay. You sometimes do get contact. Cam Tizzle and Switchback spin round. Oh dear. At turn 4 they made contact. Both cars sent round. Both cars lost time. Cam will get the position, but he's now a solid 4 seconds behind the next car as Vader gets a 3-second time penalty. The AI overtaken by Garvey. Clunky boy just losing ground. Every second he's not in the car, the AI is losing about the same amount of time relative to everyone else. Blade closing in with the power of DRS. This fight isn't over for 4th. There's Robbo just behind, so Robbo has some genuine pace as Clunky falls to 10th. Round turn 1 into turn 2. Around the right-hander of 3. Onto the long second straightaway up towards turn 4. Blade with DRS open will close in, but not by enough to attack into turn 4. Barmer. He's actually gained on the race leader. The gap's reduced down to 2 seconds. It was about 2.5 last time I checked. So these medium tyres are starting to fall off a little bit. They just don't quite have the pace, and the hard tyres, they're starting to switch on. They're starting to become slightly better tyre. They head around the hairpin at turn 13 into 14 and 15. Gap continuing to shrink between the top two as Damon gets by Rassam, that is for 16th position. Cam Tizzle gets by the AI of Clunky Boy, who is still yet to rejoin. Hopefully he can at some point. Now, look away from this for a moment. Bursey trying to pull away from Blade. Gap sitting at 0.7 of a second between P4 and 5. Now Switchback is closing in on the AI of Clunky. So, yeah, the new full-time Williams driver has been well and truly shafted by the AI. Yellows are out. That must be Harris spinning. It is. Oh, and he spins again. Lights it up. It's pointed back in the right direction, and away he goes. He's now down in 16th. Here comes 17th and 18th. And Harris gets out of the way of both. Fair play. Blade 4/10 behind Bursey, heading through the S's here. Blade has to put up with a bit of dirty air coming off the car in front, and it's costing him a tremendous amount of time. He lost about half a second through the S's there. Matty Robbo also ran a little bit wide coming out of turn 11. Into the S's we go. Into the arena section, I should say, we go. Around turn 13 into 14 and 15. And around turn 16. I'm sitting at 8/10. Blade, once again, he'll close in, but nowhere nearby enough. Now, what do these three do, I wonder? If Matty Robbo gets on the back of Blade, would he want to get by? Or will he wait for Blade to just pit in, get off the medium tyre and onto the set of hards? We're getting pretty close to the pit window now for the medium runners to move on to a set of hards. Hard tyre can last some time around here on this circuit. Keep an eye on the leader, I suppose. Be the first of the medium runners arriving at the pit lane. Down towards the arena section now. Gap sitting at 2.2 seconds between the top two. 3.6 seconds back is Darth Vader in the Haas. Now, heading around the penultimate corner and up to the final turn. Vermouth does not pit in, he's going a bit longer. Barber doing the best he can right now, not overdriving the car. Keeping it nice and steady for now. No Name gets a 3-second time penalty. Switchback gets another 3-second time penalty. Blade losing time, and Robbo's closing in. Scabney's in the pits. Oh, look at Robbo. He is dumping his battery down the main straight. Looks to the inside, but does not fully commit to the move into turn 1. Scabney will pit onto a set of hard compound tyres. Tidy run out of turn 3. And this straight away towards turn 4. Robbo not close enough just yet. Still working hard trying to close the gap. Jason Garvey, they soon appear to be battling. Jason's got a little bit of closing up to do to try and challenge Garvey. Raw for position. Closed up a lot there at turn 5. Yellows are out for whatever reason. Not totally sure why they came out. As Vader gets another 3-second time penalty. Alright, Vermouth. He stays out for another lap. He's going to keep going. Barmer continuing to close the gap. It's now 1.9 seconds. Oh, as Harris is retired in the pit lane. So our first retirement of the event is Harris Plex. He's had enough to put the car away in the pit lane. So we're down to 17. Here comes Robbo. Blade with no DRS assistance this time around. Means that he will be demoted to P6. Matty Robbo up to 5th. Chase closing in as well. To the inside, he'll look here at turn 1. He'll get in front. Simple overtake there. Garvey won't do anything to try and get the position back because really he can't do anything. He won't get any DRS assistance here unless he's got some decent straight line speed. He can't challenge Chase into turn 4. Excuse me. Must admit, I didn't get a particularly great night's sleep. Eyes are a tad bit heavy. Oh. Now, Blade. Best thing he can do right now is to just try and stick with Robbo and Burzy. I mean, it's fairly evident that both Burzy and Robbo right now have pretty decent pace. So if he can stay within 1 second of those two, he'll do himself a massive favour, and he is staying out for another lap. Garvey, bit of a similar story, I would think. Oh, he's just cracked out of that 1 second range. He should get some DRS though. Oh, switchback is spun inside the arena. Here comes Scavney. Careful of the ghosting. Ghosting's turned off now. Scavney will be looking for a way by. Will he get some DRS here to help him out? Let's see. Down the main straight. No DRS assistance, so he has to pass the old-fashioned way, and he's got plenty of speed to do it. Doesn't need any DRS. He'll just get by. Oh, but switchback fights back down the around the outside of turn 1. Couldn't quite fight down the inside of turn 2 though. So it means that Scavney moves into P10. Switch back down to 11th. Blade losing ground. There is Burzy and a AI. I believe that's for Sam's AI as Vermouth pits in. The race leader is in. First critical pit stop onto a set of hard compound tyres. Who'll leave the pit lane. Should fall out behind Electric Blade, but in front of Chase. Switch back another penalty. 3 seconds added on to his tally. I think that's now 9 seconds next to his name. Now down towards turn 1. What's the gap? The gap's sitting at 5 seconds between Vermouth and Electric Blade. Chase moves into the pits to move on to a set. That's another set of mediums. He's just put on the car. Alright, so he's 2-stopping then. Interesting. See how that fares. If he gets a well-timed safety car, that'll really help him out. Particularly towards the latter stages of the race. Blade doing a good job here keeping up with Robbo, but he's just crept out of that 1 second range. Needs to try and get back in it. Robbo, meanwhile, doing a superb job. He and Burzy look pretty good right now on their hard compound tyres. They're both set for a potential top 5 finish. They head around turn 13 into 14 and 15. Out of the arena around turn 16 and turn 17. Now the pit window for the hard runners, I imagine, will begin after lap 18. As Blade pits in to move on to the hard compound tyre. So Vermouth gets promoted up to 5th. Laid down to 6th. Should be overtaken by Garvey, one would think. Yeah, he will be overtaken by Garvey. But what about his teammate Cam? Where is the Alpine? Just leaving now, so Cam gets by his teammate. So Blade down to 8th position for now. We've still got a few pit stops to go through first. We see where everyone actually is, but as of right now, Blade is in P8. Into the S as we go. 1.4 seconds separating these two. No penalties next to their names either. As we head through turns 10 and 11 up towards turn 12. Robbo closed in just a smidgen through that S section. Generally speaking, these two guys look pretty even in terms of pace right now. Barmer staying out for another lap. It'll be interesting to see how long Barmer goes on these hard compound tyres. Right now he'd be pulling away from Vermouth, thanks to the fact that Vermouth has to get those tyres up to temperature. Now Chase got a 3-second time penalty. I saw someone else get a penalty before him though. Didn't quite catch who that was. Damon, Clunky Boy's AI just, yeah, getting absolutely swamped down to P15 now. So he's been unable to rejoin the session, it seems. Man, the gaps have well and truly spread out here in Mexico. Seems like everyone is in their own little world. I suppose just keep our eye on the race leader for now. Keep our eyes towards the front. Have a look at the details while we wait for the next pit window to arrive. So in terms of position change, Barmer's up 2 places. Darth Vader has lost 1 from pole position. He's down in P2. Nortec gets a 3-second time penalty. Bursey gets a 3-second time penalty. So that's Bursey's first penalty of the night. I think that's DK's as well. Yeah, it is. So they both now have 3 seconds. Speaking of Bursey, he's made up 1 spot. Matty Robbo's made up 4. He's driven well after the start. Vermoo down 3. Garvey up 7 from 13th. Currently P6. We have Cam Tizzle down 1. Blade down 3. Scabney, he's maintained his place. Same with Switchback, which is quite remarkable considering what happened at the beginning of the race. Grim up 5. He had a fantastic start. Chase down 5. No Name up 5. Damon's maintained his place. The AI of Clunky Boy is down in P15. Nortec just overtakes him, so that promotes Nortec up to 15th position. Clunky Boy down to 16th. The AI of Rassam in 17th position as Switchback pits in. This will be his first stop, moving off the hard tyre and onto a set of mediums. You can see the penalties right now. Vader with 6. Bursey with 3. Garvey and Tizzle with 3. Chase, No Name, and Nortec with 3 as well. Switchback with 9. He has the most out of anybody right now in terms of time penalties. There is our race leader still chugging along on those hard compound tyres. Going as long as he can, or as long as he needs to go on those tyres. Vader's in though. He's not mucking around. He wants some fresh tyres bolted on. A new set of medium compound tyres. Vermoo's already past him. So Vader should get plenty of clear air. Yeah, look at that. He's got an entire front straight all to himself. He'll be able to get his head down and put the hammer down. That was a screen freeze for Vermoo. Switchback, a 3-second time penalty. He now has 12. Aston Martin driver not faring too well with the track limits around this circuit. Can't blame him though. I know off experience this track is a royal pain in the backside when it comes to track limit warnings. Because the optimal line, especially through this S section, requires you to fully utilize the width of the racetrack and then some. Oh, Vermoo runs wide. Robbo's got a 3-second time penalty as well, as Switchback has retired in the pit lane, so he's had enough. Race leader Bummer 22 is in. New set of mediums bolted onto the car. Now hopefully the AI in front of him doesn't screw him over. Oh yeah, it's going to. Look at that. The same glitch from last year's game. When a person retires in the pits, their AI comes to a stop in the fast lane and Bummer's been held up. Oh my goodness. This was exactly the same thing in F1 2021. I've seen it happen at least once, I can remember vividly. The same damn thing is in F1 22. What a surprise. In the back of my mind, I was thinking this might happen, you know, to Barmer. And that's exactly what happened. The AI came to a dead stop in the fast lane, costing Barmer time. He's now behind Darth Vader. Vermoo has just been given a golden ticket to try and win this race. All thanks to the wonderful work of Codemasters. God, what a company. Gotta love it. Mini rant out of the way. We still have battles out on track I would like to keep track of. We've got Blade, Bursey and Robbo battling for position. This is for P5 on the racetrack. They've all done their necessary pit stops. They're set and ready to go to the end of the race. But, Blade has a tyre disadvantage. He's on the hard compound tyre. They're 4 laps older than the 2 drivers behind, but the 2 drivers behind have time penalties. They both have 3 seconds worth of time penalties. And Blade's got some assistance from none other than his teammate Cam Tizzle. So on this lap, if Cam is still in front of Blade, Blade should get some DRS assistance. That should keep Bursey and Robbo at bay, but as of right now, Blade doesn't have that assistance. Oh, but Bursey isn't closing in by enough. Oh, but he's going to have a look anyway, down the inside. Did he outbrake himself there, or was that a genuine attempt at an overtake? I'm not sure. He said, oh, and hello, Robbo, where did you come from? He goes down the inside of Bursey and moves into P6. Great bit of race car there from Robbo. He saw what happened in front. Both cars were checked up. There was a window of opportunity for Robbo to go down the inside. He took it. Oh, and he spins! He spins out, losing control. Probably distracted by the AI, I would think, of Clunky Boy. His car spins and tumbles down to 8th position. Well, that brilliant overtake at turn 5 has been completely undone. Now moves down to 8th. Cam maintaining 4th place. He's going really long on those tyres. But I imagine he's going to let his teammate through here. And towards turn 1. Oh, no. Here comes Bursey. Down the inside here. This is going to get interesting. Into turn 1 we go. Graham with a 5-second penalty for speeding. Blade hangs on to the position. He'll stay in P5. Bursey though has got pace. Down towards turn 4. Taking it through the left-hander into the right-hander at 5. Up towards turn 6. Down to 2nd gear. Short shifts up to 3rd. It's a tidy exit out of the hairpin. Round turn 7. Into turn 8. Round turn 9. That could have been nasty. Car lost control after turn 8. But he gathered it up well. Out towards turn 12. Big lift there from Bursey as well. Looks like he's got plenty of fuel. I'll quickly bring up telemetry. Oh no, he's in deep doo-doo. That's not a plus sign, that's a minus sign. So he's minus 0.8 laps under. Bursey has got a huge fuel problem. That's minus 0.8 on his steering wheel. Bursey's in trouble unless there's a safety car. Around the outside here at turn 1. Can't get by Cam. Try and get by here down this next straightaway. Got the nose in front. Got the car in front. Oh, but Cam fights back. No avail though. Bursey maintained the inside line at turn 5. But yeah, Bursey's got a fuel problem. You see the solid red icon on the telemetry. That means he's under. So he's 0.8 laps under. Cam's got fuel. He's 0.4 over. Scavney down the inside here at turn 7. Contact, and there goes Scavney into the wall. Damage, I think, as well for Scavney, I would assume. Oh, no. No. Front wing intact. It's pointed back in the right direction. But he's got a fuel problem as well. He's minus 0.5 under for fuel. Grim's all good. He's got 2 laps over. Damon's under. Oh, a lot of drivers under. What about the leaders? I want to see. Minus 0.3. Minus 0.4. Barmer's over. He's got half a lap extra fuel. There goes Bursey down the inside of Blade. Blade is running about even. 0.4 for Cam. 0.4 for Matty Robbo over. 1.5 over for Chase. He's all good. think the McLaren might be a bit even here. Yeah, it is. It's pretty close to even. 0.2 over. 0.5 over for Scavney. I mean, we've still got a fair few laps to go. So these guys might be able to get back to neutral, but man, that fuel issue might become a real problem towards the end of this race, especially if the drivers aren't looking after it. And this again puts Barmer back in the hot seat because he's got fuel in reserve. He's the best out of the top 4 for sure. So Barmer can push from here to the end with very little worries, whereas Vermeeu and Vader both need to keep their eyes on the fuel gauge. They can't let it get too low too soon. That gap's shrinking too between Vader and Barmer. 3.1 seconds is now the gap. Cam's still running on those tyres. He is going a long time on those tyres. 25 laps. Astonishingly, throughout this race, no safety car or virtual safety car whatsoever. We've had 2 retirements, both of them in the pit lane, one of which costing Barmer the race lead, what could have been the race lead. He was pushed back down to 3rd due to a magnificent pit lane glitch that has been in the F1 game since, well, at least F1 2021. That was the first time I've seen it. Yellow's out. That is Robbo, I think. It is. Spinning at the entry to turn 10. He now drops back down to 8th. Chase has overtaken him. He moves up to 7th. Oh dear. It was looking like a top 5 for Robbo. Has completely deteriorated. I mean, still looking at a points finish, which is better than nothing, but it was looking so much better than what it does right now. Right, top 2, 2.1 seconds separating them. They head around the hairpin at turn 6 and down towards the S's. There is Rassam's AI in the way. Chuck it through the S's at turn 7 into 8, around the left of 9, up towards 10 and 11. Gap has reduced down to 1.8 seconds. Yeah, been a bit disappointing so far. There's not been much racing whatsoever throughout this stage of the race. We have to wait a little bit longer. Have to give more time to both Vader and Barmer to try and catch up to the race leader, and maybe by that point we'll get to see a bit of battling here and there. But right now, as you can see on the leaderboard on the left, everybody's pretty well spread out right now. In fact, the gap between the top 2 is the closest gap between any 2 drivers right now. So this is it. The battle for the lead is the only battle on track right now. Of course, time penalties are probably going to play a factor during the final stages of this race, considering how many drivers have them. Nortec gives himself another penalty. I think that's now 6 seconds for the Alfa Romeo driver. Heading through the S's, the gap is reduced down to 1 second between the top 2. Vader's got pace, but he also has that time penalty next to his name. There's Barmer 22 closing in as well. Now the leaders are making their way out of the arena section. Vader has closed the gap tremendously through that final sector. Down the main straightaway they go. It's now 8 laps to go here in Mexico. It's lap 29 of 36, and we might have a change for the lead here. Vader closing in at a rate of knots. Looking around the outside here at turn 1. Dives it in. Gets around the outside. Vermeeu can't fight back. He just can't. Through turns 2 and 3, he has to give in. Vader is the new race leader. Help him out, he'll get some extra DRS heading towards turn 4. Now Barber starting to close in that little bit more, 1.6 seconds behind. Robbo closing in on Chase. Oh, Matthew Robbo, look, he looks to the inside here. Dives it in. Oh, wow. Chase left the door open. Vermoo has spun. He has thrown away a chance for the race win through the S's. That was at turn 8 he did it at. Turns 8 and 9. Let's see here. He hasn't got any damage from what I can tell on the front wing. Oh, but what a shame. Battling in the top 3, and he's thrown it away at probably the most critical stage of the entire event. This is the stage where you need to have your head screwed on. You need to remain focused. You need to know what battles you're in. Because one mistake can completely undo all the hard work you put in. And that's exactly what's happened to Vermoo. Chase still within a second of Matty here, but yeah, I think Matty Robbo's going to drive away. He's on 5-lap fresher medium compound tyres. As Cam Tizzle pits in, he'll shove on a set of soft compound tyres, one would think. Yep, set of softs, and away he leaves. Will he get in front of Garvey? I don't think he will. He'll be behind Garvey. What about Scavney? And the main straight, there is Cam. This is going to get tight. Cam getting up to speed. Scavney reaching top speed. Down into turn 1. And he lifts. Big lift from Scavney there. Into 1. Only going to see a fair bit of lift and coast. Still see on the telemetry, at least on Vermoo's car, he is still with that red fuel icon. But he's cut it all the way down to 0.2 laps under. Oh, and that does not help. A 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. So he's doing well with his fuel. Can't say the same for Vader though, he's still half a lap under. Barmer half a lap over. Doing quite a bit better. Oh, and that, yeah, another penalty for Vader then, 6 seconds next to his name now. Cam Tizzle looking to try and drive away as Chase and Robbo. Oh, Robbo spun. He's damaged his wing at pit entry. Spinning out at turn 16. He's put it into the wall, rubbing some extra salt into the wound. And it was looking like a really solid race, but it's all unfolding for Matty Robbo. And he's going to drop behind Grimm. Grimm will move inside the top 10 here. In front wing, and there goes Grimm. Barmer 22 now on the back of Vader. There'll be a pass coming, and I have a feeling it's going to be an elementary one. Down the main straightaway, it's now lap 32. We've got 5 laps to go here at Hermanos Rodriguez. Barmer closing in. Down the main straight. Looks around the outside. Sends it around the outside. And gets in front. Around the outside. Vader almost hits him though at turn 2. Unfortunately, the two drivers avoid contact. And Barmer has retaken... Well, actually, no, I believe this might be the first time he's been in the lead. Now I think about it. Yeah. Yeah, no, this is the first time he's taken the lead in this race. Better late than never for Barmer. As Johnny Damer gives a 3-second time penalty. We've had a crash. No Name has crashed out at the entry to turn 9. And we get a virtual safety car. That's turned into a safety car. Alright, okay. We're going to turn this whole race upside down. Graham gets a 5-second time penalty for speeding into the pit lane. What has been a relatively dull race has now been given the opportunity for quite the chaotic ending. Barmer's in. Vader's in. Vermoo will pit, surely. He's got a gap to his teammate behind. He can pit. he stays out. Why? Oh. Barmer and Vader on soft compound tyres now. Thursday stays out. Blade goes in. Chase comes in. He'll be getting off those medium compound tyres. Garvey, well, they're slightly fresher. He could stay out. See, no, he comes in. Cam stays out, obviously. He's on fresh tyres. So he might as well stay out. Scavney comes in. Alright. Oh. Well, this has just completely turned the race upside down. Everyone was set to finish and No Name lost control, put it into the wall at turn 9, and now we have this. The drivers pitting in, putting on soft tyres, getting ready to send it. Will the safety car move back into the pits this lap though? No, we'll do one more. Looks of things. We're going to have a 2-lap dash to the checkered flag. Alright. And Vermoo is our race leader. And he's got a time penalty next to his name. 3 seconds worth. And into the pits, who's that? Oh, that is Nortec in the Alfa Romeo. Pitting in. And Bursey's in. Nortec's retired. Oh, will Bursey get in front of Blade? No, I don't think he will. Why didn't he pit a lap earlier? Alright. Cam will come and... yeah. He'll be behind Bursey. There is the AI of Nortec making their way out. Alright. So this is it. Tyres, so long as we remember that both Vermoo... well, Grin pitted onto a set of hards. Fresh hards. Okay, interesting. Well, Vermoo's on 18 lap old hards. He's decided to take track position over fresh tyres for some reason. Be interesting to see how that all pans out. But the safety car should duck back into the pits at the end of this lap. It's programmed to do so. So we're going to have a 2-lap sprint from here to the checkered flag, and that will determine everything. And the biggest thing are all the penalties. Those who don't have penalties are going to get a massive helping hand thanks to this safety car. Vader's going to get properly shafted with those 9 seconds worth of penalties. Alright. Oh, and Rassam's AI is in between Vader and Blade, so Blade's being held up by the AI, so that doesn't help at all. Alright, how much chaos are we going to see? 2 laps, 5.2 miles. Also 5.4. Vermoo takes off. It's now lap 32 of 36 here in Mexico City, and Vader's all over the back of Barmer. Down towards turn 1 we go. Vermoo moving about the straight, trying to make sure Barmer doesn't get a slipstream. Here comes Vader to the inside, down into turn 1. Barmer holding his line down the inside of turn 2 and around the outside of turn 3. Oh, as Barmer's forced out wide. He'll keep the position, he'll keep P2 as Garvey overtakes Scavney for P8. Into turn 4. And around turn 5, up towards the hairpin of turn 6. Yellows are out, it's the 2 McLarens. Garvey and Scavney spinning out at turn 4, and that's cost Scavney tremendously. There's a real chance for a decent points finish for Scavney. He had no penalty. Oh, Vermu, a mistake at turn 11. And here comes Vader. Barmer was balked by Vermu. So Vader through into second. Barmer's trying to fight back. Yellows are out. Is that Matty Robbo? It must be spinning out at turn 10. So Robbo goes all the way down to 12th. He's outside of the points. It's now the final lap here at Hermanos Rodriguez. 2.5 tenths separating the top two. Vader's closing in. Realistically, though, it's all for nothing. Those 9 seconds are really, really going to hurt him. Barmer right behind. Contact into turn 1 between Vermu and Vader. Around turn 2, Vader gets in front. Robbo gets a 5-second penalty. And Vermu, he's made a mistake out of 3. He spun out and drops down to 7th. Barmer now on the back of Blade. Wait, Blade? Where did Blade come from? Blade has a shot of winning this race. Down the inside goes Barmer. There's contact as they head down towards the S's now. Barmer and Blade a drag race into 7. Blade with the inside, Barmer around the outside, and Barmer gets the position. Bersey and Blade make contact as they go through the S's for the final time. They're side by side through 11, and Blade gets in front. How did he get to second though? How did he pass Barmer? That's astonishing. Cam and Bersey are now battling. Going wide is Cam. He overshot turn 12. The confetti flies. It'll be Darth Vader who will cross the line in first position, but he will not stay there. It'll be Barmer 22 who takes another win in the AM1 Championship. Blade comes home in second. What could have been for Blade? Oh, he could have taken the win there. Could have. But man, Barmer and Blade, they fought hard through the S's and they just came up short. Wouldn't be surprised if we saw some incident reports after what happened there. Graham given driver of the day. We'll see their performance in the final results screen. Garvey not happy. Understandably. It was looking like a pretty decent result for McLaren after what happened though at turn 4. It all deteriorated. There we are, another win for Barmer 22 then, provisionally of course. Maybe that final lap stuff might be reported, I don't know. But as of right now, he's our winner of the Mexican Grand Prix. Electric Blade will finish in second place. Third will be given to Bersey for Ferrari. So, the unofficial results of the Mexican Grand Prix. Barmer 22 is your race winner. Claimed fastest lap as well. So not a bad effort at all from our championship leader. Blade will come home in second place, with Bersey home in third. Cam Tizzle P4, making it a really big points haul for Alpine. Then Darth Vader will round out the top 5. Chase P6, followed by Vermu, who threw away what could have been a top 3. Will finish in P7. Graham started 16th, made his way up to 8th. That's why he was given driver of the day. Scavney 9th, and rounding out the points is Johnny Damon in the Haas. Outside of the point scoring places, we have Garvey in 11th, followed by Matty Robbo, the AI of Clunky Boy, and Rassam. In our retirements from the event, Nortec, No Name, Switchback, and Harryplex. Of course, Matty, you retired as well on the final lap, but you have been classified 12th. So, oh my goodness. Well, that race did not deserve that kind of ending. It was sort of just gifted to us. It was an okay race. It was okay. We had some decent battles here and there, but I think with Mexico, you just kind of had to expect boring races. It used to be a really great racetrack for strategy. It really was a great racetrack for strategy. Because in the past, it was a 2-stop racetrack. You could make the 1-stop work. But back in the day, it was soft, medium, soft, or soft, soft, medium. Something of that kind is what you needed to do in order to be competitive. and it made racing very, very interesting. But now, with a straight forward one-stop strategy, yeah, it sort of dulls everything. So, but thanks to No Name's accident at turn 9, we ended up getting a 2-lap sprint to the end, and you know, it made for good watching. Everyone was going for it, you could tell from what we saw. Drivers tripped over each other, they were shoving their way through, trying to get every position they could. And at the end of the day, as of right now, Obama 22 is our race winner. Of course, it's all provisional. We'll have to wait in 2 weeks' time for the next round of the championship, because we get a break, finally. Yeah, the way that the calendar is set up, we've got 18 rounds set in 3 different legs, essentially. Each leg is about 6 rounds long. So we just ended the first leg of the championship, and we've now hit a break. So everyone can just chill out for a week and get ready for next week's race, and give us plenty of time to talk over what happened at the end of that Grand Prix. But now, a final congratulations to our top 3. Well done to Burzy, to Electric Blade, and to Barmer 22. Congratulations on getting your podium finishes. But I think with everything said and done, it's now time for us to end the stream. I've been Lane Everingham. Thank you all so much for watching. We won't see you next week. Next week will be our first break of the season. So we'll see you in a fortnight's time for round 7 of the AM1 Championship at Circuit Paul Ricard for the French Grand Prix. That might be a bit of a special race. That might be the very last time we'll see the Great Tarmac Lake in a Formula 1 video game. Suppose only time will tell. But until then, it's goodbye.